I think the problem is actually that still the record companies offer a way of distributing music that you can't quite do yourself. You can put it up on YouTube or whatever, but it still doesn't quite get you the audience that you need. I think in some ways the most interesting thing about this is that it's changing all the time. And the main thing is don't give anything away in perpetuity. Don't sign away all your rights. License by all means for a specific length of time, but don't do what was done in the early days, which is simply sign all your rights away in return for that advance that you thought was what you really needed.
You actually, following on to that question, you're involved in a charity organisation, FAC, that's, we'll tell everybody a little bit about.
Yeah, I think this is sort of relevant to the question. I got sort of co-opted into an organisation called the Featured Artists Coalition, and I would exhort any of you who are either hoping to be or in the business to join. The really, really good news is it's free. But the object of this is to try and become a voice for artists, particularly as what we refer to as featured artists. I hope that quite a lot of you would be members of the Musicians' Union, because the Musicians' Union to some extent covers some of this ground. But we feel that there's a place for this organisation to give a bit more of a voice to writer performers, perhaps, more than just performers. And there's a lot of legislation going on, a lot of discussion going on globally into the rights of artists. And I'm very fond again of quoting one of my great heroes, Mr. Bernie Ecclestone, who said, if you don't have a seat at the table, you're probably on the menu. And this is a little bit how I think we feel. And it does look as though the future of music is going to, or certainly for the foreseeable future, is going to be streaming. And streaming could work really well for all of us if enough people sign up for it, and if the streaming services, who are very sophisticated in how they measure, or not measure, but note exactly who's listening to what, if they were then in a position to pay out to the artists properly. Unfortunately, what exists is a whole load of non-disclosure agreements between streaming and artists, streaming and record companies that actually ensures it's very difficult to find out what you should really be paid. But I think anything you can do to reserve your rights or to negotiate rights on streaming in particular, really important.
Very good, thank you. Have we got anyone on this side that's got a question? Okay. Like I said, someone at the back I can see.
What is your favourite album that you've ever released?
Well, probably. I mean, it's a bit like asking about your favourite children.
Why should you ask me that?
Well, I tend to have any favourite children. I'm cross with all of them. No. I'll tell you the album I'm particularly fond of is Saucer Full of Secrets, which is the second album we made. And I think what I like about that is, first of all, there are the ideas that are contained in that record that I think then did sort of come up in all our future work. The title track is quite a complex piece of music with no lyrics and a lot of rather strange sounds on it. And our producer at the time did say while we were making it, he said, when they've finished messing about with this, we'll get back to doing proper pop songs. Fortunately, after that we decided to carry on our own. But also I think it was the beginning of Roger's writing, and the Set the Controls is still a song that I really like, and a song for a drummer that's great fun to play. It's a sort of mallet track. It's slightly influenced. When I say slightly influenced, it means I'm not looking for litigation here. By Ginger Baker and We're Going Wrong. I imagine that 90% of the audience are Cream fans. And also by Chico Hamilton, a jazz drummer who appeared in a movie called Jazz on a Summer's Day, playing a long extended solo mallet, all of which were highly influential on me.
Okay, do you have another question? Someone live.
Hi. I was just wondering, how did you come about doing something like the Live at Pompeii? And what did it feel like playing a massive gong?
Sorry, what was the last bit?
What did it feel like playing a massive gong?
The gong.
Well,
As a drummer.
as usual, all the good stuff gets given to other people, and if, as far as I remember, all the good gong stuff is done by Roger. Story of my life, really. There's always someone who goes and takes the good stuff that leaves you. Anyway, I won't go too far into that. I have to say, the movie is something that I'm really so glad that we made, because it really is a snapshot of the band at that period. And it was actually great fun to make. The really sad thing is, it wasn't our idea at all. I think we were all rather dismissive of it. Like, why on earth do we want to go off to Italy and play in this weird place? But it was being sort of devised by Adrian Marvin, who was the director of the movie. And it was a sort of almost perfect arrangement, because the fact that it was outdoors and there was this wind blowing through and so on gave it a really atmospheric live feel that we wouldn't have got in the studio, but we didn't have the problems of having to work with an audience, which the problem being that if you've got an audience, you don't really want to light it in the way that we did. And of course, a lot of it was filmed in broad daylight, which is, if we'd had to do it all with an audience, with stage lighting, it would have been almost impossible to carry on. But great fun to do it, and I think I still look at it and marvel at it. There is a belief that there's a rather extended drum section featuring me, one of my favourite subjects, and it would appear that they lost a can of film which had all the guitar bits going on visually, which is why I managed to get about 5 minutes all to myself.
Do you listen to your own music?
No, in a word. I mean, I do if I have to learn it, because at my advanced stage I forget how it went, or which particular. I mean, I never play exactly the same drum fill twice if I can help it. But every now and again you get faced with something where you've got to do it properly, and in fact, which leads on. The last time that really happened to me was when the closing ceremony for the Olympics a couple of years ago, where after a lot of fiddling around in argy-bargy, it was agreed that I would put together a group of people to accompany Ed Sheeran, and he would sing "Wish You Were Here," which was delightful, great fun, great thing to do. But we had to have the exact tape of the song as we would perform it, in case anything went wrong on the night, which not so much in our case, but for a number of people it did wonderfully wrong, and it was, you wouldn't really spot it. But I actually did then have to try and remember exactly which film went where and then be able to recreate it on the night.
Well, while we're on that subject, closing ceremony of the Olympics, do you remember how you got approached to do it?
I think rather indirectly, actually, through Patrick Woodruff, the lighting designer, who rang me up. I think probably they'd approached a number of different people and got a number of different responses, from varying between yes, I'd love to, and other people saying not in a million years. So anyway, they were scraping the barrel and finally got the lighting designer to call me. And I checked and I wasn't doing anything that day. And they said, well, who would you like to play with you? So I asked Mike Rutherford, the Genesis guitarist, who's a great friend of mine, and Richard Jones from The Feeling, another friend, and a good time had by all, really.
Well, I know we've discussed this before, but for those that don't know, they called them the star talent, people that opened, or in the opening ceremony or closing, the celebrities, the names, and they were all paid £1 coin.
Yeah, I actually have to say, I don't think they ever gave me £1 coin. But I don't think that's the fault of the organisers. I think maybe my manager intercepted it. He was still trying to work out how to get his 10% out of it.
Regarding drums, okay, we've got some Pisces symbols here. How did that association start?
Well, the symbol started a long time ago, I think in about 1969. And we were playing in Montreux, and a rather unlikely band, modern psychedelic music, in the Montreux Jazz Festival. And I was sitting by the side of the stage, and this nice man came up, Rudy someone, and said, would I like some cymbals? Well, no one had offered me anything ever before. It was one of those sort of very unfair things about life.